your Catholic Drive Time
with Joe McLean and Emily Alcaraz.
All right, I'm going to have Adrian play the trailer for this brand new film coming out from St. Thomas More Society. I think it's coming out on the 22nd of March. Sit back and listen to this. Go ahead, Adrian.
Since 1920, we have aborted 1 billion children across the world in 100 years. I thought I had to fight that. That will destroy our country.
He got a name for himself in the movement and began to be in great demand, speaking around the world.
Frankly, what he did was a textbook case on how to organize a protest movement.
I was sued by the National Organization for Women on a charge of racketeering.
When the Scheidler case came along, I filed my appearance, and before long I was the lead counsel for the defense.
They were convinced that they had found the silver bullet to getting rid of the pro-life movement. It was really important to us that we come out victorious and be able to assure people, yes, you can still come out and do protests. You can still go out to the abortion clinics and sidewalk counsel.
The Scheidler case is important because without their perseverance, so many organizations that hold vigil outside of abortion facilities wouldn't exist. And that impacts generations.
Did I ever think that involvement with this case would last 28 years and go before the U.S. Supreme Court not only once, not only twice, but 3 times? Inconceivable.
Joining us right now via Zoom chat, Tom Brejcha, President, Chief Counsel, St. Thomas More Society. Good morning to you, sir.
Well, good morning.
Praise be to God. We're very grateful that you are on with us today. Let's start with yourself, and I know it's a big part of the film that's coming out. It looks beautiful, by the way. I was able to watch
My first success that stands out was a young woman that
I was able to watch sort of a pre-released version of the film, and it looks very beautiful and moving. Tell us, give us the elevator pitch on the founding of St. Thomas More Society and your involvement.
Well, it was a matter of necessity. We were coming up to a trial date for a jury trial. It looked very ominous and threatening. We were being sued. We'd beaten an antitrust theory that was the beginning of the case, but the other side added racketeering charges under this federal racketeering law that was passed in 1970. And I was a business lawyer in a business law firm, but this case against Joe Scheidler and co-conspirators, they said there are as many as 1 million co-conspirators, so that shows you what kind of case it was. This just took over my law practice, and we weren't getting paid, and it was only so long you could do that. Well, at the 11th year, when we were about to go to trial, my law partner said, maybe you better quit the case or quit the firm. So we were out on the street, we had a donated office in a derelict building that was about to shut down. The Scheidlers, Joe and Ann, lent us their mailing list, and we asked for help. And that was the start of the Thomas More Society, a not-for-profit public interest law firm. So how did we begin? We began out of sheer necessity. And then it went on, of course. We had a trial, April 1998, and continued into June and July. And you know what? It got us a lot of attention. The case had not really got much attention up till then. We had a lot of wonderful key witnesses. I think back, Henry Hyde, the great congressman from Illinois. We had Jack Wilkie, the from Cincinnati, the head of National Right to Life Committee, and we had submissions from all kinds of Catholic and Christian activists. Daniel Berrigan, former Attorney General Ramsey Clark came and joined me one day as my co-counsel.
Hmm.
So it was, a very, very, and of course, I forgot to mention, how could I? Jane Roe of Roe v. Wade, whose real name was Norma McCorvey, and Sandra Cano from the Companion case with Roe. Sandra was the Doe in Doe v. Bolden, which extended abortion rights through the whole 9 months of pregnancy. So we put abortion on trial in our own way, and we lost the trial. We lost on appeal, but the Supreme Court of the United States opened its doors to us. This was the second time, and we won 8-1 pretty decisively.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. But then the lower courts tried to overturn the Supreme Court. That only happens in abortion cases, So they did it on a gambit that they wouldn't take the same case a third time, and they lost the gambit. And the judge who dominated that panel was reportedly President Obama's first pick for the Supreme Court nomination that went to Justice Sotomayor, and it was because of what she did in our case that, according to a left-wing pro-abortion writer, that was the reason, what she did in our case, where she didn't get that nomination. So it was quite a deal. But then it went on, until 2014, arguing over our costs, which were a piddling amount, really, by comparison to the real actual expense of the case. And it didn't end until 28 years after it began.
All right, Tom Brejcha is our guest. He's the president, chief counsel of St. Thomas More Society. So hold that thought. Tom, we're going to have to take a short break. We're going to come right back and continue our conversation about this film that's about to be released. Tom Brejcha is our guest. He's the president, chief counsel of the St. Thomas More Society. It's a pretty incredible story to hear about a case, Now versus Scheidler, where they were accusing Scheidler of they're using the RICO Act, right? So they were saying he was doing something so criminal, he was on the same level as like the mafia. That's essentially what they were trying to say. And the case went to the Supreme Court 3 times. And I guarantee most people who outside of like the really active pro-life movement probably haven't even heard of this case. It's crazy. I want to ask about Joe Scheidler in particular, Tom. A lot of people consider him to be the sort of the godfather, the grandfather even of the pro-life movement in America. You knew him from the early days. What was he like, and what was his impact on the pro-life movement?
Well, it was a huge impact. Joe was a dominating personality, a great leader. By trade or profession, he was a public relations consultant, communications arts professor. He met his wife, Ann, our chairman, to this day. When she was a student at Mundelein, he was a young faculty member. Mundelein is a former women's college here in Chicago that has since then been absorbed into Loyola University. Joe was way over 6 feet tall. He used to wear striking outfits, all white, sometimes black. He would be seen at protest sites. He would organize these protests right at the doorstep of abortion providers. This is where he thought the pro-life message would be most critical, life-saving, at the doorstep of the killing center, frankly, is the way he would put it, and extremely bright. And of course, he wrote 2 books. The first book, 99 Ways to Stop Abortion, shut down the abortion industry. That's what got him sued, and he was a great speaker and demand all over the country, internationally. Quite a fellow, tough client, often disagreed with his lawyer. And when he did, he wasn't shy about expressing himself. So, we were friends. My goodness, we spent most of our professional lives together. We just lost Joe just back in January at age, I guess, 93. So after he had been videoed for this short half-hour documentary about the case. So this is in his honor, really. And I think it's good that people are finally recognizing how important that case was.
Let's talk about the film itself. It's very beautifully done. It's a moving tribute to Joe. It's a great retelling of the Now versus Scheidler case, and also of the founding of the St. Thomas More Society. So, what was the impetus for putting this together? What were you hoping to accomplish through the film?
Well, we wanted to let people know about it. Joe's life and legacy is critical, important for the pro-life movement. Is now at a critical time when the Biden administration, we're going to face all kinds of challenges, and this is a critical time. This is the pro-life moment. Now is the time to convey the truth of what we stand for, and adversity may indeed bring on a more profound, deeper sense of progress in letting people realize the sanctity of human life is more than a phrase. It's it's a cause worth fighting for, and that's at the core of our Christian and Catholic faith. And it's also emblazoned in the Declaration of Independence. So here's a coincidence of, both the sacred and secular spheres in which we live our lives. So I think the fact that Joe stood up through all that adversity is a good, timely lesson for these times.
Tom, so I'm 23. I just graduated from university. I got a bachelor's in communications, and one of the classes I had to take was a communications law class. It just struck me how we didn't talk about your case at all. It seems as though it's an incredibly important case, especially for someone in the communication field to have studied, especially in a communication law class. Why is this case not talked about more? Because I feel like I am a well-informed Catholic, a well-informed pro-life person, and in the communication field, and yet none of these three things have alerted me to this case. So whenever I saw the film, I was shocked that I had never heard of anything about this. So so this comes down to two questions. One, why is this case not talked about more? And two, what do young people like myself what should we learn from this case?
Well, I think we learn that it's critical to communicate the essential truth behind our religious faith and our defense of the Scheidler case, which is a very respectable, central, essential truth that life is sacred, and that we have every right. In fact, we have a calling, I think, as Christians to speak out that truth and not be intimidated. And look what happened to Joe when he very effectively and eloquently, articulated the cause behind this movement of ours. He drew a lot of attention, and they sued him. Now, none of us wants to get sued for racketeering, certainly not for 28 years, I guess, but on the other hand, when you're challenged, we are challenged, every one of us in our daily lives, if we take a stand out in the public square. And it's fulfilling. That it puts an edge on our faith, sanctifies our faith. It's more than something that we do in church. They allowed, I remember somebody told me they allowed religion in the Soviet Union. They just had to keep it within the four walls of their churches. No, I think this is a fighting faith that we have. And it's good to see somebody like Scheidler show us how you can fight and do so lawfully, even when people try and shut you down. So
Yeah,
adversity
absolutely.
sometimes, is a good thing.
Yes, and I had a question. Now, we've seen more and more states, such as Arkansas recently, enacting pro-life laws that are getting more and more restrictive. If you've been following the pro-life movement for so long from a legal aspect, what do you see as the future of the pro-life movement? Do you see Roe v. Wade being overturned? Like, where are we headed?
Well, I think it will be overturned. My reasons for thinking that go back to 1973, and immediately after that decision, which was sent a shockwave across the country, especially with people like Joe Scheidler, and I think now the criticism of the case came from not only the religious sector, but from the professional legal field. Archibald Cox, the special prosecutor in the Watergate way back when. This is ancient history, I know, for many of the younger folks. He critiqued it. It was legally terribly flawed. I think it's going to go down, but that's not the end of the battle, because I think it'll go to the states. In fact, of course, the Biden administration wants to make it a national statute. But, so this fight will go on, even if Roe sees its demise. It's a good battle that we are fighting. There's nothing so beautiful. I'm a grandfather now, and believe me, we look at photos of our grandkids, and life is sweet. It's wonderful. It's fraught with risk, yes, but
Amen.
It's not something to take lightly.
Amen. We have just about 2 minutes left in our conversation with Tom Brejcha. He's the president, Chief Counsel, Thomas More Society. And we've been talking about the landmark Now versus Scheidler case, this film that's going to be released. So the film that's going to be released, it's on March 22nd. Where will it be available?
Well, I think it's going to be on the EWTN network on that date. And I suppose it'll be available after that. The details. I'm not a great part of the marketing, folks. I hope people will tune in. Hope it'll be repeated. People are after me to write up the story of it, and frankly, we're so busy around the country defending pro-lifers in all these contemporary battles. Maybe there'll be a longer version of it. It's hard to put 28 years into a half hour.
Yeah, for sure. Well, EWTN is going to air it, and so praise God for that. But Tom Brejcha, President, Chief Counsel, Thomas More Society, thank you for being on with us today. We're very grateful for your time.
Well, thank you for the invitation.
All right. God love you and God bless you, Tom. Have a great day. And that's going to do it for hour number 1 of the Catholic Drive Time. I loved in the film where Joe talks about meeting Tom for the first time. He felt like he had some grit, and that's why he chose him to defend him. And I was just very touched by that. But hopefully, dear listener, you will check out this film when you can, either on EWTN or probably later on St. Thomas More's website or YouTube channel or something like that. We'll update you as we know more. But if you can join us in the next hour, we have our Catholic Trivia Game Show. Prizes are going to be given away today. Last 3 chances to get into the Coffee Cup of Divine Providence is coming up. If we can't see you till Monday, well, God bless you. God love you. Have a great weekend. We'll see you then. Take care.
Thank you for joining us on Your Catholic Drive Time, where it is our pleasure to keep you informed and inspired.
Join us Monday through Friday at the same time, right here on your favorite Catholic radio station.
Don't forget to connect with us. Just go to facebook.com/Catholic Drive Time.
Again, that's facebook.com/Catholic Drive Time.
Be sure to share more than just us today. Share Jesus with everyone you meet.
Bye now, and God love you.